Hey everyone, welcome back to day 2 of the Netflix application build. So in this video, we'll be implementing 3 screens, that is the login screen, the register screen, as well as the plan screen in the later part of the video. So if you find this interesting, please hit the like button and also subscribe for more such content, and let's get started. So the initial step is to initialize the Expo Manage project since we're using the Expo framework. So let's go do that. So over here inside my terminal, let me go to the build folder and then let me write Expo in it. Let's say the project name, Netflix project, and then press enter. So this should ask us to choose a template we want to work with. So pretty much there are 4 templates, that is a blank template, and then the blank template with TypeScript and tabs with TypeScript, and the fourth one is minimal. So we are going to choose the first option, that is blank template, and then press on enter. So this should pretty much install all the JavaScript dependencies required to start coding our project from scratch. So let's wait for it to install all the dependencies. So talking about the design, towards my left is a login screen and towards the right is a plan screen. So we are going to design the login screen as well as a register screen. And then in the later part, we are going to design the plan screen as well, as you can see over here. So pretty much the login screen and the plan and the register screen are similar to each other, except the button differences are there. That's it. Other than that, we can just implement it very easily. I think the project has been initialized. Let us cd into our project and let's start coding it up. Okay, so cd Netflix project, and then let's write code dot. All right, so let us close the previous one, that's not required, and let us use this one. Okay, so firstly, let us open up our app.js that is given. So over here, this is the boilerplate code that Expo gives us when we initialize our Expo Manage project. So this is pretty much the starting point of our application. So first step is to start our application. So let us press on terminal and then new terminal. Okay, so let us write Expo start. Okay, and also let's open up our Expo Dev Tools on Chrome. Okay, so towards my left, we have 5 options to view our application, that is run on Android device or emulator, or on iOS simulator, or run in web browser, or pretty much these 2 options. Okay, or we can even view our application through our own phone, that is by scanning this QR code. So for that, you need to have installed Expo Go application on your phone. Okay, so we are going to choose the second option, that is run on iOS simulator, and we will wait for the simulator to load our project. Okay, so it's opening on iPhone 14 Pro Max. Let's see. So it should pretty much show up this text which says up open up app.js to start working on our app, because that's what we are returning inside the view, right? Okay, yes, it's almost done. Yeah, it's working fine. We can see the text coming up at the center of the screen. So the basic style they've given is the flex of fun, the background color, and align items and justify content term center. Okay, so the next step we do is let's install the dependencies for React navigation, since we want to navigate from the login screen to the register screen. Okay, so let's go do that. So over here, let's write React navigation, and let's go to this one, then read docs. Okay, so since we're using yarn, let us copy this one, and then over here open up a new terminal, paste that up, and then press enter. So since we're using the Expo Manage project, let us copy this one, that is for the React Native screens and the safe area context. All right, so next let's move to React navigation, and then copy the yarn code, that is to install React navigation / native stack. Copy that and then enter. So pretty much we have installed all the dependencies required for navigation. So the next step is to create the stack navigator as they've given. Okay, so let us go do that. So press on app.js and then new file. Let's say stack navigator.js and then rnfes to get the shorthand snippet. So to get this shorthand snippet, you need to have installed ES7 inside your systems, that is I guess this one. Yeah, so this is the dependency you need to install to get all the shorthand snippets for React as well as React Native. Okay, so let's continue building it. So next thing we want is, instead of returning the view, we are going to return the navigation container they've given. So let's pretty much copy that and paste it over. And next, let us also import navigation container from the correct dependency, that is this one. And let us initialize our native stack navigator at the top right over here, and let's also import that. So save the file. So now we have initialized our stack navigator. Okay, so inside a stack navigator we have the navigation container. Inside a navigation container we have the stack navigator. Inside that we have the first screen that they have initialized, that is called as the home screen. But if we include a stack navigator inside our app.js, nothing is going to happen because there is no screens. There is no screen named as home. Okay, so first let's go do that. Let's create some folders for our screens, and then for our components, and we also need for the data, right? So let's go to that. Okay, so inside our screens folder, let's create two screens. So the first one is going to be login screen.js. Okay, so let's write our nfes to get the shorthand snippet. Save the file. Again, new file, register screen.js, rnfes again. Okay, so save the file. So now let's go back to our stack navigator. So instead of the name home, we are going to say login. Okay, so for the component, instead of home screen, let's write login screen, and let's import it from our screens folder. Let's pretty much copy it again, and then let's initialize our second screen, that is the register screen. So the name is going to be register. So instead of login screen, it's going to be register screen. Let's import it from our screens folder again. Okay, so save the file. Yeah, so initially we have our login screen, so that is going to be shown. So let us include our stack navigator inside our app.js. Okay, so let's remove everything. Let us import our stack navigator. It has to be self-closing. Okay, so let's also write our status bar over here. Let us give a light style, and let's save the file, and we should see the login screen coming up on the screen towards the right. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the first screen that we are seeing on the emulator. So that is because we have our login screen initialized as first inside a stack navigator. So as you can see over here, we can see that header coming up. So we do not want our header. As you can see, there is no header present over here. So let us remove the header. So inside a stack navigator, let us provide some options over here, and let us say header shown, and we are going to set it to be false. So the same thing, we do not want the header inside our register screen as well. So the same thing, we are going to do it here as well, and save the file. Okay, so now let's start designing a login screen. So now as you can see, the text is almost touching the status bar. Let us not use a view for that. Okay, so we're going to use the safe area view instead of a normal view. Save the file. Yeah, so now it's in the correct position. So now let's start building up the login screen. So as you can see over here, the complete background is black. So let us do that. So let's give the basic styling for the safe area view. Let's say a flex of 1, and then a background color of black, and a padding of 10. Yeah, so the entire screen turns black. That is what we wanted. So next, what we are going to do is we are going to make use of a keyboard avoiding view. Okay, so first let us import it from the correct one, that is React Native. Yeah, so the reason I'm using a keyboard avoiding view is that if in case there is some input field inside a mobile screen, and if the user starts typing up, of course the keyboard opens up, and sometimes the keyboard might block the UI that is present. So that's the reason we are using a keyboard avoiding view to prevent that thing. Okay, so inside this we are gonna start writing. So let's initialize a view over here. So the first thing over here, as you can see, is the image. So let me just copy the image code I have with me. Yeah, so I've copied the image code. I'll be sending the image in the description below or in the form of a drive link, so you can go and copy that, or you can pretty much copy the link which is given over here. So now let us import image from React Native, and then let's save the file. Okay, so we are getting the Netflix logo, and let's provide some margin top over here of 20. Okay, and for the safe area view over here, let's also give align items of center. All right, so next we want to do is the input parts. So for that we are going to install something that is React Native Elements. So let's write yarn add React Native Elements. I hope the spelling is right. Okay, press enter. All right, so over here let us initialize another view. Okay, so let us get the input from React Native Elements, import it from React Native Elements, and let us write the type. It's going to be email. So the next thing we want to provide is the placeholder for it. It's going to be email. So the next we'll provide some style. Okay, so let's say a width of 330, and then let's also give some internal padding, that is 15. Let's give a border radius of 5, and let's say a color of white. All right, and then we also want is I think the background color. So the background color is going to be gray. Okay. All right, so for the input, for the first input, this is the styling as well as the placeholder. So let's also provide another attribute, that is placeholder text color. It's gonna be white. Okay, so now let us make use of another input. So before that, let us save the file and let's see if everything is working right. Okay, we can see nothing on the screen. Yeah, now it's coming. All right, so there is one error. I mean, there is one problem. So if you make the background color white, you can see a line coming at the bottom of the input, that is this one. So we do not want that to come. Okay, so let's remove that. So over here to the input, let's write input container style. Okay, let's give border bottom width, and let's set it to be 0, and that should be gone. All right. Okay, so let's provide width to our parent view. Okay, so let's say a width of 300 and some spacing on the top, say 45. Save the file. All right, so for our image, or for the view which contains the image, let's give the style. Let's say align items of center, and then justify content of space between. All right, so now we have designed the first input field. Let's pretty much copy that again. This is for the password. Okay, so type is going to be password, and we have to write another thing, that is secure text entry, and we're going to set it to be true. Okay, so save the file, and the placeholder we have to change that. So this is going to be password. Okay, so let's type and see if everything is working. Yeah, the color is white. We are able to type inside the email as well as the password, and it is secure text entry. Okay. All right, so next we want to design is the sign in button. So that was gonna come after the view. Let's initialize a pressable. Let's import it from React Native, and let us write a text inside the pressable which says sign in. Okay, so over here let's give the styling to the pressable. Okay, so let's say a width of 300. Okay, and then we also want a margin left of auto, and then margin right of auto. Okay, next we are gonna say justify content center, align item center, and let's also give the border color That's going to be white, and the border width is going to be 2. Does it have a border radius? I don't think so. Okay, so the next thing we want is the styling for the text. Okay, let's give a text align of center. A font size of 17, font weight of 500. Let's also give the color of white so it is visible on the screen. Save the file. Yeah, so everything is working fine. Let's give some padding to the pressable. Let's say 14. All right, let's decrease the width, or let us increase the width of the view over here. Let's make it 320. All right. I think it's looking good. So for the text, I think it should be bold. So let's go to that. So let's keep it 700 and let's make it to 19. Okay. Yeah, so the next thing we want is another pressable. So let us initialize that over here. Let's write the text field, which says go to Netflix. All right, so for the styling, let's copy this and then later make the changes. So just let's remove all this. So for the style of the text, actually I don't think that was required. You can just write text align center and I think that's going to work. A color of white. All right, so next we want is let's say font size of 19 and then font weight of 600. Save the file. Yeah, so a bit of spacing towards the top, margin top of 15. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're pretty much done with the login screen. So now what we do is, so we will need access to whatever the user types inside our email field as well as the password field. So currently we do not have access to that. So let's give access to that by making use of state. Okay, so let us initialize that over here. So const input comma set input equals to use state. Let's import it from React, and initially it is an empty string. Let's copy that again. So it's going to be password and then set password. That also is going to be initially empty string. Okay, so now let's write over here, that is the inside the input. So let's give the value. Okay, so it's going to be the input. Okay, so next it takes something called as on change text. Okay, so we are going to set the text whatever the user is typing. So let's write set input of text. Okay, so the same thing is going to be for our second input as well. So let's write value. So it's going to be password, and next it's going to be on change text. So for the text, the user types, we are going to set the password of the text. Okay, so now let's give it a try if it is working or not. Let's console.log the input. Save the file. Let's start typing. So Chan, yeah, it's working fine. We are able to access whatever the user is typing inside the state, that is input and password. Okay, so next thing we want to do is a bit of small design part, that is on the sign in button. So if you have seen the demo video, that is if the user types more than 4 characters of the password, pretty much the sign in button, the background color is going to change for that. So let's write a condition for that. Okay, and then let's implement that. So style equals to, so if the password dot length is greater than 4, okay, so if it's greater than 4, we are going to give some style, else we are going to give the default style that we have given. Let's paste the same thing in both the values, and then let's make the changes. Okay, so if it's greater than 4, we are going to have a background color of red, and we are going to remove that is border color and then border width. Okay, else if that's not the case, we are going to just show the design that we created earlier. So save the file, and let's just start writing the input, I mean the password. So after I write the 5th character, it's going to change to red. Yeah, so that's a bit of UI, a better UI experience for the user. Okay, so now let us start designing our register screen. So if the user presses on this thing that is new to Netflix sign up, we are going to the register screen. Okay, so first let us initialize our navigation. So const navigation equals to use navigation. All right, so on press of the pressable, that is over here. Let's write navigation dot navigate. So over here we need to pass this the name of the screen we want to navigate to. So if you check out a stack navigator, so the name we initialized was register. So let us pass that over here. Okay, so save the file and let's press on that. Yeah, so we are coming to the register screen. So pretty much the code for the register screen is same as the login screen. So let's copy everything from the safe area view and then paste it over here. Let's import the necessary changes. Pressable, we want the image, we also want the safe area view or the keyboard avoiding view, and again we want use state, right? So let's import that as well. Let's copy the states, that is this thing. Import use navigation. I think that's it. Yeah, we have not imported the input, right, from React Native elements, and then save the file. Yeah, so this is pretty much the register screen. So now let us make the changes. All right, so instead of sign in, it's going to be register. Okay, and it doesn't have this thing, the last pressable, so let's remove that. All right, so now what we do is on press of register screen, that is if the value is given, we are going to the plan screen to select any one of the plan. All right, so let us go do that. We have initialized navigation, and yeah, on press over here, let's do that. So on press of the button, let's write navigation dot navigate to the plan screen. So firstly we have to initialize our plan screen, so let's go do that. So inside our screens folder, let's write plans screen.js and then rnfes to get the shorthand snippet. Save this file. Let's go back to our stack navigator. Let us initialize our plan screen, and instead of register, let's write plan. So over here, let's write plan screen and import it from our screens folder. And we have the same options that I said is shown as false over here as well. So over here, let us write plan, and inside a plan screen, we need access to the email and password the user has typed. So let us send that as data. Okay, so email is going to be email. It is stored inside of state. Okay, no, it's not email, it's going to be input. So next is password, it's going to be password. All right, so now let's give it a try. john@gmail.com. Let's give a random password and then register. Yeah, so we are coming to the plan screen, and let's start designing the plan screen now. Okay, so over here, let us initialize a safe area view, and let us import, let's use it instead of the normal view. save the file. All right, so now let's start designing a plan screen that is over here. Okay, so let us write a view. Let us choose a text which says choose the plans that is right for you. So for the styling for the view, let's give a padding of 10. All right, so for the text, say font size of 16 and then font weight of 500. All right, so next we have the icon as well as 3 texts. Okay, so let us initialize the view for that, and let us really get that icon real soon. Okay, so go over here, search for the check. I think it's this one. So first import the icon family, then copy that into component code, and then paste it over here inside the view. The second thing, it contains another text which says watch all you want free. So for the view, let's give a style that is a flex direction of row, line items of center, then save the file. Yeah, so for the color, let me just go check the color. Instead of black, so it's gonna be E50914. Okay, that's the color we want. And for the text, let's give a margin left of 4, a font size of 17, and then a font weight of 600. All right, so for the view, that is a top, the view which contains these 2 children, let us give a margin top of 10. Okay, let's give more spacing towards the left of 6, and let us decrease the font size 16. Okay, let's increase the font size for the upper text. All right, that's looking big. It's gonna be 600. All right, so let's pretty much copy the view a couple of times, and let's make the changes for the text. So let's try the last one. Cancel your plan anytime. Okay, I think there is too much spacing, I think, because of the margin top we have given. Yeah, let's keep it to 3. All right. Yeah, so the next thing we want to do is to start designing the plans. Okay, so let us copy that. We have the data over here. I've created the drive link, so I'll be sending this in the description so I can go use the data. Okay, so let's go into our data folder over here, create a new file, plans.js. Let's pretty much paste it over. Okay, let's remove all that. Let's write export default. Okay, yeah, so save the file, and inside our plan screen, let us import this data that we just initialized. So import plans from data. So let's initialize this to a value. So const data equals to plans, and let us make use of map, and then let's start seeing all the data. Okay, all right, so over here let us write data dot map for every item inside it. Let us return a pressable. Let's import it from React Native. And the first thing we want is, let's say, the name of the plan. So let's initialize a text. So okay, let's initialize a view first. Inside that, let's put up our text. So to access the name, it's gonna be, I think it's item.name, right? So item.name. Let's give the key for it. It's gonna be index, and then pressable is imported. So let's save the file. Yeah, so pretty much you can see the values coming up. Okay, so let's initialize the empty view over here. Let's provide some margin top, or let's say margin top of 20. Yeah, so for the pressable, let's give the style. Okay, so let's write style. So over here, let's give a basic height of 150. Okay, and then a border radius of 7, a border color that is this one itself that we use for the icon, and a border width of 0.5. Let's give some internal padding, then save the file. All right, we are able to see the changes that we made. Okay, so let's also provide some margin bottom of 5, 15. Okay, it's a bit more. All right, or let's see if we can give only the margin and then check it out. 10. Yeah, I think margin of 10 works good. Okay, yeah, so now let's start designing the things. So over here, this has a background color of this one, so let's go to that. So for the view, let's give a style, background color of this one. Okay, and then next what we want is a bit of internal spacing. Okay, so for the text, let's give text align of center, knob padding, then color of white. Okay, so the next thing we want is the font size 16, font weight of 600. Let's give that a try. Then a width for this thing of 130. All right, 120. Okay, let's also give a border radius for this of 7. Okay, looking good. So the next thing we want to do is show the price for it. So for that, let us initialize another view over here. So this view contains the view that we just initialized, this one, as well as the price. Okay, so the second text that comes over here. So it's going to be item.price. All right, so next thing we do is, so for the outer view, which contains 2 children, that is this one as well as the text, let's give the style for that. Okay, let's write flex direction of row, and then align items of center, and justify content of space between. Space between. Okay, so let's remove align item center. I don't think that's needed. Yeah, so for the text, let us give the styling. Okay, font is going to be 20, and then font weight is going to be bold. Okay, I don't think it's bold. Yeah, 600. looks okay. Fine. You also have to write price over here. Yeah, so let's copy the rupee symbol. Okay. And then paste it over here. All right, so the next thing we want to do is the second part. So let's initialize a view for that as well. It's gonna have a, okay, let's initialize another view which contains two texts. Okay, there's gonna be video quality. So it's gonna be item dot. So let's see how to access that. It's gonna be video quality itself. Okay. Next is the resolution. Okay, so it's gonna be item dot resolution. Yeah, save the file. So for this view, let's give some margin top. Okay, so this is gonna have a color of gray, font size of 15, font weight of 15. Okay, so save the file. All right, so for the second text, let's give a font size of 16 and font weight of 500. All right, and let's give some spacing towards the top as well. Let's say margin top of 5. 5 looks too big. I think 3 is okay. So next we have the Netflix logo. Okay, that's gonna come over here. Let's copy that too. Over here, come back to the same thing. Let's search for Netflix. Yeah, let's choose this one. Copy the import code. And let us paste it over here. It's going to be black itself. For this view, let's give the styling, that is a flex selection of row, and then align items of center. Justify content of space between. All right, okay. Let's increase the size a bit to 28. Okay, so the next thing we want is the devices we can watch on. Okay, so it's gonna be view or text. It says devices you can watch on. Okay, so the next thing we do is we are going to make use of the data. Save the file. I would say let's increase the height a bit. Let's make it to 160. Where is that? Yeah, this one. Let's give 160. Okay, and let's give some spacing towards the right to the icon that is over here. Okay, so margin right of 6. Okay, so for this view, let's give some spacing towards the top as well, since it's almost touching the other view. So margin top of 10. Okay, so for the style of the text, let's say font size of 16. Okay, so now let us initialize a view over here. So to get the devices we have, okay, it's there inside the devices array. So let's map through it again. So let's write item.map, item.devices.map for every device. Okay, let's render a icon. So that is going to be a untypo. Okay, so the color, okay, color we can change it later. So instead of Fontesto, it's going to be untypo. Let's import it from the vector icons that is over here. Okay, so the next thing we want is the name. Yeah, so for the name we are going to say item dot. So if you go inside our plans thing folder, plans file, you can see the name of the icon that we have. So it's going to be item dot name. Okay, let's keep it 24 for now, and then let it check it how it is looking. So for the color, it's going to have the color we have already chosen, that is this one. Let's copy that up and paste it over here. Okay, and we want to be it in a row. So flex action of row, line items of center. Save the file, and before saving for this view also, let's give same thing, that is flex action of row and then align items of center. Okay, let's see now. Okay, we have an error. I think that's not the name and typo I was using previously, so let's go check that out. So let's search for mobile or a laptop. So if you see over here, the icon which we're using is this. Okay, it is in typo itself. Okay, we are getting something on the screen, but that is not what we wanted. Yeah, so the name is going to be item.name. I think we need that style. Okay, let's see what is happening. Okay, so item dot device. Okay, my bad. So instead of item, it's going to be device.name. Okay, so save the file. Yeah, so now you can see all the devices coming up on the screen. That's what we wanted. So now let's increase the size a bit to, let's say, 27. All right, so let us use a scroll view because it's almost going to the bottom of the screen. Okay, first let's import that up. So scroll view, let's use it instead of a safe area view. Okay, let's provide some margin top. Come on, style. Okay, let's give 50. Awesome, so we are now able to scroll through it as well. So yeah, okay, I think we are pretty much done designing the part of the screen, that is the plan screen. Okay, so I think we are done with all the design part as we have thought in the initial stage of the video. So we have designed the login screen, the register screen, as well as the plan screen, and we are storing whatever the user is typing inside of state, that is email and password, that is required for our register function as well as the login functionality. So in the next video, we are going to do the payment processing, that is using Stripe integration, and then we are going to register the user inside of Firebase, and then we are navigating to the let's say the profile screen, and then start designing all the movies and web series. Okay, so thank you for watching. Until then, keep exploring. Let's see you in the next video.